Wife School show. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I missed you guys last week. I was away visiting my parents and had a great time watching the Derby and the races leading up to the Derby with my dad, who loves horse racing. And they actually live in Jeffersonville, Indiana, which is right on the other side of Louisville, where the Kentucky Derby is held at Churchill Downs. So it was a fun weekend, but I missed being here. Doing my show is something I love, and you guys are so great to be so supportive every week and showing up and being part of the channel and getting my message out. So thank you guys so much. Thank you to Evo and Phil and Steve for keeping an eye on the chat today. Make their job easy, guys. Keep the chat respectful, on topic, positive, supportive. And if not, then they'll be there to keep things in check. So what we are talking about today, and also I will take a look at the chat and questions at the end of the show. So stay with me until there. And if you can, make Evo's job easy, because he sends me questions from the chat. So save your questions for the end of the live stream if you can, or toward the end if they are for me, and put question in all caps, or tag Evo in it, or also you can do a super chat, or I think they're called super stickers, and that makes it really easy because they stand out in lots of color. So if you have something that you really want to address, and I think it's something I can answer on the spot and that it's constructive based on our discussion, then I'll take a look at it and we'll go into depth. So with all that being said, today we are talking about, where did my fun wife go? And so what happens for us as women once we get married is we begin to believe that having fun is immature, frivolous, irresponsible, and we suck all the fun out of the relationship. And what often happens is that a good man will marry a woman who is fun and spontaneous and easygoing when they first meet. And we do that to get the man and to get the marriage. And then it's a facade. So once we get married, that facade comes off and all the fun goes out of the marriage. So for you good men out there that maybe married, the party girl or the life of the party, and you're like, where did she go? We used to have so much fun together. You are gonna be able to see what's really going on. And for those women listening, this is really important to open up and see about yourself so that you can change for yourself. Because when you stop having fun, when we stop having fun as women, not only do we deprive our husbands, but we're depriving ourselves of having fun in life and enjoying ourselves, enjoying the life that we have. And marriage is a lot more fun when you're willing to have fun with your husband who enjoys having fun. So what happens, we get married and we totally flip. We flip and we become rigid. Women become rigid once we get married. And I want to talk a little bit about what that means, why being rigid sucks all the fun out of the relationship, and where that's coming from. Why, other than, yes, the facade coming down, but what's going on underneath for us as women, that we do become rigid once we get married. The purpose for a man to understand these things is really to no longer be deceived or gaslit to believe that you are the problem, so that you can see the reality of your wife, what's for her as a woman, what's really going on underneath, so you no longer feel like the crazy one. For women, seeing this is so we can overcome these limitations within ourselves, open up, be who we truly are, and be able to share ourselves with our husbands as good men, which they deserve that. and to share that part of us with ourselves and no longer deprive ourselves of fun and the enjoyment of life. I had to learn, and the only way that I could change, which is why I share a lot of my experience in my videos, I had to realize the only way that I could change was to actually own and take responsibility for these limitations in myself, and from what I talk about in my videos, from Camp Take Responsibility, to see these things about myself like rigid and know it just as me, as who I am, not as something that has happened to me, not as a learned behavior or something from my past or upbringing, but just the experience of myself. When I see something like rigid as just the experience of myself, independently from my upbringing, circumstances in my life, things that have happened to me, then that puts me in the driver's seat and puts me in control to actually be able to change those behaviors in myself. One, because I'm not being a victim and blaming somebody else for why I am the way I am. And two, because it creates self-awareness. I used to think I had a lot of self-awareness when I went to therapy, but I learned when I came onto this path and moved into Camp Take Responsibility that I had no self-awareness because I blamed everybody else for my issues and my problems, which cuts us off from being able to see ourselves and what the choices we are making and the behaviors we have that are just stemming from us. When I see it as this is me, then I actually create self-awareness and I can catch myself in these behaviors and make different choices to be able to change. That was the only way that I could change these things about myself and in my marriage with my husband, is to own them and take responsibility for them as me, and then use my self-awareness to catch myself in these behaviors so I can make different choices and open up a whole new experience of myself, a whole new experience of my life and my marriage as the only way to change. So for the women listening, open yourself up to see this about yourself so you can catch yourself in it and change and have an enjoyable experience of yourself, your life, your husband, and your marriage. So how are we as women as rigid? I want to share with you my experience of myself as rigid, and also working with women over the last decade who also know this in themselves. So it's coming from that experience of working with them, but also my own work that I know this as myself. And again, that's what gives me the opportunity to experience myself very differently, because I can catch myself in this and actually change and outgrow being rigid. So this is my experience of rigid, which is the stick we have up, you know what, as women in ourselves, and what prevents us from having fun and sucking all the fun out of the marriage. And men listening, you can see do you know this about your wife? And see this in your wife, either very frequently or from time to time. So I am completely inflexible. I am extremely uptight and controlling. I have a compulsion to be in control. Everything has to be my way. I refuse to do anything other than my way. There are no other options than mine. I will short circuit if anything is done other than my way. I get enraged if I can't have it my way. I am encased in my walls. This is our experience as women of rigid and being rigid. What happens in our rigidity, as you can hear in what I just read, there's no freedom in that. There's no freedom in being rigid. It's actually a prison that we keep ourselves in. Rigid is the perfect expression of the walls we have up as women. And it creates a vortex. Our rigidity creates a vortex in our marriage that sucks all the energy, all the joy, and all the fun out of the room. in order to have fun, fun is being able to freely enjoy ourselves in life. If fun is being able to freely enjoy ourselves in our lives, that can't happen with rigid and being rigid, because there's no freedom there. We can't let go of our compulsion to be in control, to be able to freely enjoy ourselves and freely enjoy our marriages, our lives, our husbands. We can't let our hair down to have any kind of fun, because we have to hold on to rigid, because we have to be in control. I saw a couple of really good comments. I'm going to save one for later, but I saw a comment in the chat earlier this morning where a gentleman said that he had a situation last night with his wife that fits this topic perfectly. And he said it just as I'm saying it. It was like the fun and joy got sucked out of the room. That's the vortex that we create as women in being rigid. And as soon as we maybe even realize that we are having fun, or our husbands are having fun, it's just like, whew, we take it all away, because we have to have things completely in control. It has to be our way. And we perceive any kind of fun as, again, immature, irresponsible, and frivolous. So why does this happen? And then, one more thing before why does this happen? If we can't have fun behind our walls and our rigidity, our husbands are not going to have any fun. So we stop any fun of theirs as well, which is where we're going to go in a little bit. There's 3 ways as women that we emasculate our husbands as the fun police. So if we can't have fun, our husbands aren't going to have fun. And that's why we squash it down in the relationship and in the marriage. So this happens, and now I'll get a little into the why. Why do we become so rigid when we get married? It happens partly because of the facade we wore of being fun and spontaneous and easygoing, or being the party girl or the life of the party. So it happens partly because of that. The facade comes down. That's just what we wore to get the guy, get the marriage. Then we also become rigid and stop having fun because of how we feel as women in marriage. We got married for the wrong reasons. We didn't stop to think through getting married. We didn't stop to think through what being married and being a wife actually means, and the responsibilities that come with that, the structure that comes with being in a marriage, and the things that we will have to adjust and reprioritize, and even things we'll need to sacrifice and give up once we are married. I've said this before, that we as women get focused on the wedding, we get focused on the dress, we get focused on the fantasy of marriage and the happily ever after we think it's supposed to be, the fantasy of that it's just supposed to happen, that there's no hard work or challenges that come with marriage. We never stop to think those things through. So we get married for all the wrong reasons, to have the wedding, potentially getting married as our doorway to being a mother, having kids and having a family, but not thinking through that there's going to be another person involved that we have to consider and care for too, our husbands. We essentially just see them as the sperm donor. We get married to be taken care of. We get married because we think that's what we're supposed to do, and it's what we should do as the next step in our life. So we do it for all the wrong reasons, rather than for the experience of being married and the structure of marriage and what that will support us in growing and evolving into the best version of ourselves in the context of marriage, and actually learning how to be a wife and how to consider another, and how to have a healthy relationship with a man. Those aren't things we're thinking of when we get married. So what happens? We get married. then we feel completely trapped by marriage. It's not anything that we imagined it to be in our fantasy. We didn't take responsibility for our choice to get married, to become a wife, and what that involved. So we become victims. That something is happening to me or has happened to me that has taken away what I deserve or I'm entitled to. And now my life is of hardship and struggle. And then we blame our husbands for how we feel in that trap, in prison, in our experience of marriage. I want to read to you another just short little narrative of a summary of how women feel in marriage, because we don't think it through and we don't take responsibility for the choice and what it actually means. I don't understand the point of marriage. I feel lost and empty. I'm non-existent in a marriage. I have no freedom. I'm tethered to somebody else. I'm miserable being married. It is just a way to run out my life. I have no other options. If we're honest with ourselves as women and we haven't done our work, we know this is how we feel in a marriage. So we feel trapped and imprisoned. So we then take that out on our husbands, on the marriage, by becoming rigid and creating the prison around us of marriage, right? And then creating a prison for our husbands. We police everything to keep things in control, and police everything to take any possibility or opportunity of fun out of the relationship, taking the fun, any possibility of fun for our husbands out of the relationship to stay in control and keep things the way we need them to be to feel in control. A good example of this, and I know this in myself, it's something I've had to work on. And many women have shared this with me too. And the men listening will be like, yeah, I know that move. This is how we police everything to keep things in control, that I think is a really good example. It's like, if we come home as women, we come home and we walk in the door, our husband might be, watching a show or a game, maybe having a beer on the couch or doing something else that they find fun, maybe working on a project or something like that, or watching a game. And we come home and we look around and there's dishes in the sink, there's things on the counters, maybe the trash needs to be taken out. We're so rigid and have to have things just so in our way. We can barely put our purse down and our things down before we are doing the dishes, taking the trash out, getting the things off the counter, getting things back in their place, and having a massive temper tantrum while doing it. That's part of the vortex that then sucks all the energy out of the room. And the man is just like automatically, because in that we're making our husbands feel bad and wrong, which is emasculation. Good men then automatically feel like, oh, what did I do? What am I in trouble for? She's really unhappy. And good men internalize that, because that's what we're controlling and making them feel through that behavior and emasculation. It's like we short circuit, like I read in that description, we short circuit and can't relax and have fun when there's work to be done and responsibilities to be taken care of. And then that's where we're the fun police. Like, you're not going to have fun either. And how dare I catch you having fun or relaxing and enjoying yourself when there's work to be done. And that's part of our control. So I always think that's a good example of, we can't relax, we can't enjoy ourselves, we can't have the freedom to have fun when there's work to be done. So where I want to go next is talking about 3 ways as women that we emasculate our husbands as the fun police. The first way that we emasculate our husbands as the fun police is monitoring our husband's drinking. And I'm just talking about just normal drinking, just normal having a couple beers or a couple drinks to relax because it's what you enjoy. As women, we feel that when our husbands drink, that we are out of control. So again, each of these is going to come back to that rigidity we have and the compulsion to be in control and have things just so, because we can't have anything out of that encasement that we live in and the walls we have up, that we can't let anything in that's going to disrupt that control. When our husbands drink, that makes us feel out of control, because when they drink, we can't control them. I like to think of, potentially being at a party or a get together, a family get together, or a friends get together. And a woman will be part of my language around this. I don't mean to sound crude, but as a woman, we will be up our husband's butt, monitoring them at a party or a gathering of what they are drinking, because we want to have such a tight grip and control over things that we're terrified they might say something or do something that might reflect poorly on us in some way. And so we become like a mother and a babysitter to our husbands around their drinking. On the other side too, as women, we know how much we've been out of control in our drinking through our lives and our own insecurities and inability to handle our own alcohol, that we project that onto our husbands, that they can't handle their alcohol, and put all of our insecurities onto them. And in that, it's emasculating, because we make our husbands feel bad and wrong for just being a normal, good man who likes to have a couple drinks. What we also don't realize as women is that when you emasculate your husband around drinking and making him feel bad and wrong about drinking, that and that mothering behavior will often push a good man to drink more. One, because he's rebelling against you treating him like a child and mothering him. But more importantly, the emotional turmoil, the stress, the anxiety we cause in our emasculation and making them feel bad and wrong, that then they'll drink more to cope and manage that stress and anxiety and emotional turmoil of their wives. So we work against ourselves in our rigidity and being the fun police, that the very thing we think we're trying to control and prevent from happening, we actually enable and feed in our toxic behaviors and in our controlling and rigid ways. Another interesting point in this is if you're a party girl or just fun and spontaneous and like to have a couple drinks yourself before getting married, and you presented yourself that way, I that was me. Then we marry a guy who likes to have a few drinks too and likes to have fun. He's still the same guy when we marry him. And then again, pardon my language around this, we get a stick up our butt that they're still the same guy and they like to have fun and have a few drinks. And then they're thinking, what happened? And they feel the pressure of us trying to change them and trying to make them be someone other than just who they are, which then just perpetuates the issue and the problem. And we get more controlling, we get more judgmental, start saying things like he's an alcoholic and he has a drinking problem and he can't handle his alcohol, when a good man is perfectly capable of managing his drinking. Again, we're just talking about normal drinking. He's perfectly capable. He does not need a babysitter or a mother monitoring him. As women will also pull all kinds of games to control them in this way. We'll decide all of a sudden, I'm not drinking anymore. And in order for me to not drink anymore, I need you to stop drinking, because I can't not drink if you're drinking. And we make and wrap everything into about us and make them feel wrong and bad for who they are for enjoying a few drinks and constantly trying to control it. So that's one way we emasculate our husbands as the fun police, is monitoring our husband's drinking. The second way that we emasculate our husbands as the fun police is we take all the fun out of the bedroom and out of sex. We take all the fun out of the bedroom and out of sex. When we used to have fun and be spontaneous and be open to exploring new things, once we get married, we get rigid, we get what we want. Then sex often becomes mechanical and rote, very routine, and we don't want to do anything that would make us feel out of control. And for men, as we become rigid and mechanical and controlling around sex, a good man begins to feel that he can't even ask for sex, that he can't even want sex, because the spontaneity and the fun stuff in the bedroom is gone. We've sucked all that out too. And then again, everything that we were eager to show when we were dating, our abilities, the things we could do in the bedroom, our willingness to explore, it goes out the window once we get married. That was all part of the facade to get the man and to get the marriage. Then we make our husbands Neanderthals and perverts that they want to continue having fun and being spontaneous and continue exploring and doing different things in the bedroom. We will completely cut it off. And this emasculates a man because it sucks all the fun out of it for him. Something that's very natural to a man, something that's very important to him in the relationship, that's just should be a natural part of the marriage, of how we express our love and appreciation. And is something really fun that we only get to share with one person. We make them feel so bad and wrong for even wanting it. And then also, to boot, we don't show up to enjoy it. We show up with our walls up. We show up to check it off the list. Another thing that we just need to get done. And we make men feel like they have to beg for something and grovel for something that's just a normal, natural expression of love in a marriage. Through that, we're sending the message to our husbands that they can't satisfy us anymore. When we used to have fun and things were great in the beginning, once we become rigid, we take all the fun out of the bedroom and take it out of sex. We are telling our husbands they can't satisfy us anymore, which is crushing to a man, and telling him that he's not worthy as a sexual partner. Over time, this can lead to performance issues in a man because he's been made to run through this maze that we've set up to even try to get lucky and have sex with his wife, which is something we should give freely as something that we enjoy and know is part of a healthy relationship. It makes a good man feel bad and wrong for even asking for it, and then feels like he has to grovel. Another way we emasculate men in this is controlling it to be the way that we want it to be, to make it happen. And they have to jump through all these hoops. And it takes all the fun out of it for a man. And then we don't even enjoy it. So that's the third way as women that we emasculate our husbands, as being the fun police. The third way that we emasculate our husbands by being the fun police is we don't want our husbands to do anything that they have fun doing. We don't want our husbands to do anything that they have fun doing. Because again, if I'm not having fun, because I'm rigid and stuck in being controlling, then you are not having fun. So if there's work to be done, if there's other responsibilities to be taken care of, as women, we make men feel like, how dare you even think of going and doing something that you enjoy? So women will police things like men, watching sports or playing video games or going golfing or hunting or fishing or just hanging out with their guy friends. Will police projects. If our husband likes to do different house projects or build things or, work on the deck or work on the fence, then we will micromanage and monitor what they are doing and suck all the fun out of it for them, because we believe that they are being frivolous, immature, and irresponsible. And in our rigidity, we are like, this needs to be done. You haven't done it yet. How dare you have fun when this needs to be done? And that's how we show up in the relationship, that policing and mothering and controlling. And this emasculates a man, because this grooms and trains a man that he needs to ask permission from his wife to do anything that he enjoys doing. That he can't be a grown man and make a responsible choice to go hang out with his buddies for a couple hours, or go golfing one afternoon, or take an hour to work on a project or play a video game or watch a football game or whatever sport he might like. He feels like he has to ask his wife permission to do that, which is incredibly emasculating to a man, that he can't make his own decisions to do something that he enjoys. And for a good man, if he doesn't get permission from his wife, oftentimes he won't go, because he doesn't want to face the wrath and the emasculation of his wife if he does choose to go. Or so demeaning to them and make them feel so wrong in what they might like to do that they won't go do it. What's fascinating to me, and I've seen this in myself too, is then they stop going and doing things they enjoy. They stop, going and golfing or hunting or fishing or hanging out with their buddies. Then as women, we judge them that they're boring or that they don't have a life. And they don't do anything. You never do anything anymore. When we're the ones that have groomed and trained our husbands to stop doing anything that they enjoy, then we feel encroached upon, and they never leave and they never go do anything. I never have time to myself, and he's needy. Why can't he just go do something? Because you've groomed him to not go do anything. That he has to ask permission from his wife. A man asking permission from his wife to go do something fun. And then if she doesn't say yes, won't go. And we're creating that environment. Another interesting point on this topic is the double standard. The double standard that we don't want our husbands to go off and do anything fun. And we withhold fun from our husbands in the relationship because we feel trapped in the marriage. Yet we feel entitled to go have a girls' night, to go have a girls' weekend, and go have fun. But police our husbands that they can't go have any fun. And how crushing that is to a good man, that his wife refuses to have fun with him. Yet he can see her with her girlfriends laughing and letting loose. She might post pictures on Facebook or Instagram having fun. And he's thinking, why doesn't she ever like that with me? And it's because of blaming our husbands that we feel trapped in the marriage, and they've ruined our lives or ruined our ability to do what we want. So in that blame, we withhold fun from them in the relationship, but then feel entitled to go have it elsewhere. I saw another comment, I think it was yesterday when I announced this topic, saw a great comment. It was very sharp, in a good way, very sharp and wise, from a man answering the title of this video, which is the whole video. Where did my fun wife go? And he said, with the bad boys at the bar on a girls' night. And how true that can be. That when we feel trapped in our marriages, we're blaming our husbands. We've emasculated them beyond the point of being attracted to them or wanting them in any way, and have weakened them and sapped any attraction or love we have for them through our behaviors and our toxicity. That then we go out with our girlfriends and we crave male attention, and we'll flirt or go outside our vows and go have fun with another man, and how crushing and emasculating that is. So that's the third way of how we emasculate our husbands as the fun police, is we don't want our husbands doing anything that they have fun doing. So the solution for women, I'll talk to the women first. The solution to our rigidity and absence of fun is understanding that as women, we become so rigid and so controlling because we are so scared of life, and create these comfort zones to protect ourselves and try to hyper manage life, that we can't let ourselves out of that encasement and that protection to have any fun. And what we want to understand is that makes us feel really bad about ourselves, because somewhere in us, we know that we're hiding. We're playing small. We are robbing ourselves really of living and of life. And we don't feel good about ourselves in that. And we wonder why we feel like our lives aren't fulfilling and we're not fulfilled in our lives, is we've robbed ourselves of that in our rigidity. So to overcome not having fun, to overcome the rigidity in these comfort zones we create to hypermanage our lives, is what I often talk about. That's not having a healthy relationship with yourself. That's not having a healthy relationship with life, which I define as the experience of being unhappy. So the solution is we have to learn to build a healthy relationship with ourselves, which is, to me, the experience of being happy, being fulfilled, content in life, having meaning and purpose. We create that by learning to embrace life, to drop our walls and run into life and the ups and downs, so that we can grow and learn through it and feel good about ourselves. And when we have a healthy relationship with ourselves and we drop our walls, then we can start having fun again in our marriages and with our husbands, because it becomes an expression of who we are as happy, feeling good about ourselves, and having a healthy relationship with ourselves. And I do have a course for women called the Happiness Program, which teaches women how to have a healthy relationship with yourself and feel good about who you are. And you can find the link in the description below to apply for a consultation with me to see if it's a good fit. The solution for men. You need to no longer succumb to the gaslighting of your wife that she is somehow right in her rigidity and being the fun police, to make you feel bad and wrong for basic things in life that you enjoy and have fun doing. Good men need to know that you are reasonable. It's reasonable to want to go have fun. It's reasonable to do the hobbies and activities that you enjoy. That your wife is not the judge of what's right for you. That it's building the confidence and strength back up in yourself to know who you are as a good man is reasonable, and that you have good intentions and are well intentioned in what you do. That it is your wife that it is unreasonable in her fun policing and inability to let down her walls and enjoy herself and have fun, and to not get caught up in her perception of you as being bad and wrong for the reasonable things that you enjoy that are fun. And that's where you embrace your wife and her as the fun police, to build the strength and confidence in yourself to no longer fall for that gaslighting and into that crazy making and believe that you are somehow unreasonable or wrong and bad for the ways you enjoy having fun, so that it bounces off and you can still have fun and being yourself and doing the things to fill your gas tank, so that your wife doesn't rob that of you and keep you from that in your life. And we do have a men's course that was created by my mentor. I teach it. It's called the Marriage Rescue Course for Good Men Only, that teaches you how to create healthy boundaries with your wife so you can navigate the relationship in a constructive way and rebuild your strength and confidence, and to know what path you want to go, knowing the reality of your wife as a woman, and be confident in whatever choice that is. So you can also find the link to apply for a consultation with me in the description below. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was our talk on fun. So I'm going to, here in a moment, take a second, look through, see if there's some questions that I can answer, comments that are helpful to share while I'm waiting on that. I got the podcast up. I've been telling you guys since the beginning of the year. I'm turning my live shows, editing them and cutting them down to turn them into podcast episodes. And I have my first one up on Spotify, and we'll be publishing there weekly. So you can look up the Happy Wife School on Spotify. We'll get it up on Apple this week too. So if you prefer to listen, or you like not having the beginning and the end where I'm chatting and sharing about other things, then go check out my podcast. Or if you want to share in that form with friends or family members that you think can benefit, then that is another option to listen to the Happy Wife School. So I'm very excited about that. And each week, starting with this live show today, we'll get that edited and put up in podcast format on Spotify. So I'll always announce in the community tab on the channel when I have Saturday's live show available in a podcast. So very excited about that. And excited to have that in the works. So I'm going to take a second here and kind of look through the chat. Look what Evo sends me. Oh, thanks, Mikla, homegirl. You're awesome. Thanks for what you do. You're welcome. Yeah. Oh, good question. I see a question that just popped up, and then I'll look at what Evo is sending me my way. And thank you again to Phil, Steve, and Evo for keeping an eye on the chat. Appreciate it so much. But question, I finally got to see Jordan Peterson speak in North Carolina. It was 75% men and a few poor wives who got drug out. Yeah. How do we get more women in these spaces when they seem entirely disinterested? So good question. There's nothing we can do to drag women into these spaces, because the thing is if a woman is not naturally drawn to my message or somebody like Jordan Peterson, then it means she's closed-minded and she's not interested in hearing it. So even if we dragged a woman into the space and made her listen, she would have her walls up and would fight it and not do any good. So I've shared this before many times. I'm going to share it again. 50% of women will never hear my message or someone else's message that is similar to mine. They're just closed-minded, don't want to, entrenched in camp victim, aren't going to hear it. 2% of women are just going to be like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for somebody to share these things with me. I see this completely, and will just be wide open to what I talk about and other people who share similar things as I do. 48% of women, don't let that 2% discourage you. 48% of women are open to my message or someone similar, but they have to let it sink in a little bit and get through the initial anger of being called out and being confronted with themselves, and then they come around and open up. That's the majority of my students. And I will say this also something I've shared. While I have a majority male audience, the majority of my students in my courses are women. And they've been sent to me by their husbands, and they were open to my message. And so they had, most of them are the 48%. Every once in a while, I get someone that's in the 2%. But most of them are in the 40% where they initially just, I don't want to hear this. And then they come around, they let their walls down, and they're open to the message. So there's no way to drag a woman into these spaces. She's either going to be open to it or not. And I like what my mentor's dad used to say that he has shared with me, which is even water wears through granite. So it can take a little time, but I stay hopeful and optimistic that my message will continue to reach more women, either through their own exploration on YouTube or other platforms that I am now on, or I'm going to just sign in here, or their husbands share, or partners, or a brother, or a family member, or a girlfriend, a friend shares my videos, that it will continue to reach more people. So let's see what Evo has sent my way here. Thank you for your patience. I had to log in. Awesome. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Thank you so much, Ben. How generous. Thanks, Karen. I believe this information should be taught to anyone that wants to get married. Should be required by law. Wouldn't that be nice? That would change a lot of things. Well, I appreciate your contribution and generosity. That is so kind. And just appreciate your kind words. Oh my gosh, lots. Okay, I won't be able to get to everything, but oh, thanks, Phil. That's so kind. Your show and comments are spot on today. Keep providing truths. I'm going to keep on providing these truths. And Steve, thank you so much. Great show on YouTube. And Clever Honky, what a funny name. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. So amazed that, Karen, why don't these revelations come to more women? It's not a natural revelation that we come to. I wouldn't have come to this, what I teach and the truths I do share in my own experience. I wouldn't have come to it on my own. I feel God blessed me with a divine intervention of meeting my mentor, David, and his partner, Peggy, who presented and helped me wake up to myself and my, what I call my woman ways, so that I could begin to change and have a different experience in myself, a different experience as a wife, and my husband get the benefit of that. So again, it's providing women the context and seeing if they are going to be open to it or not. So that's just the nature of it. I had to be open to it. I'm blessed that I was and needed to hear it and heard it at the right time. And that's just how it went. Mauricio, watching you has helped me forgive my father of a lot of things. It's like seeing in color for the first time. Isn't that amazing? I think that's so cool. I often tell people, and something that was really important for me, I had to take my parents off a pedestal and see them just as normal humans with normal issues and normal problems. And for a lot of people, so I share that with people, like you got to take your parents off the pedestal and just see that they're humans. And I hear a lot because of what's enforced in therapy and modern day psychology. I hear a lot from people like, I know I learned these things from my mother, or my mom and dad just demonstrated these behaviors, and I know that's where I get this from. And that actually keeps us stuck in camp victim. So I like to share with people, if you have just a mom and dad, just normal women and a good man, it's not that it's your parents, your mom and dad. It's that they have the dynamics of women and good men, and that these are universal. I work with people all over the world, so it can be really helpful to see the dynamics that I talk about on my channel. Is that it wasn't a your mom and dad problem. It's a woman and a man issue, and the dynamics that we have, and that can help people see, like, if your dad is a good man and he outwardly, responded and fought back against your mom, and they would fight a lot, or he would shut down and withdraw from the relationship. And we're often gaslighted by our mothers to believe our dad was the problem. Then you can just begin to see, like, oh, that's why my dad did this or showed up this way. It is very, very, very eye-opening, and like seeing in color for the first time. So great comment. Thanks for sharing that. Let's see what else. Yeah, if you had a son, what traditional values would you suggest for him to look for in his future wife? I think it's a little something different, because there's a lot of women can carry the facade of being traditional to get the marriage, and yet we're still women. We still have this wiring and these woman ways that we have to overcome. So what I think is most important, actually, and based on what's important to a man, what's most important to look for if you have a son and he wants to have a committed relationship with a woman, or he wants to get married, one, you have to teach him that these woman ways, whether she's traditional or not, and that marriage is a place to grow and learn, and to learn to become, for a young man, place to learn to become strong in himself as a man, and embrace the dance of marriage and these behaviors. And you want to teach him to find a low maintenance woman. Doesn't mean she's going to be perfect, but a low maintenance woman. You know how I talk about on the channel that as women, we have these issues and behaviors on a spectrum. A low maintenance woman is going to be much lower on the spectrum of these woman ways. And a low maintenance woman is often going to be geared towards, can't take responsibility, might be more conservative, doesn't need, fancy things and a luxurious life. She's generally emotionally stable, doesn't have a lot of baggage that she's blaming who she is on. She doesn't have a lot of victim story. So a low maintenance woman being a little different than, say, a high maintenance woman, which are women that are always very dramatic and lots of drama and lots of makeup and very superficial. Or what some of you might think of like a damsel in distress, a low emotionally functioning woman. I would say I was a low emotionally functioning woman. I had lots of victim story. I was a mess in my 20s. I had really bad self-esteem, did not value myself. Just as one of my clients says, hot mess express. And as I began to take responsibility and mature in myself, I realized I'm a low maintenance woman. I went to go see my parents last week. I had a little backpack. So I'm a very low maintenance woman. That's what you want to teach your son to look for in a woman that's geared towards taking responsibility, and to also teach him to embrace a woman for her woman ways, for him to grow and learn about himself and become strong and confident in himself, and to make sure marriage is what he wants. I'm pro-marriage, but I do not believe marriage is for everyone, and respect someone's choice if that's not what they want for themselves, as long as they're not doing it as a victim to run and hide from the experience of marriage or a committed long-term relationship. Just like owning a business isn't for everyone, or college isn't for everyone, being married isn't for everyone. So it's something that whether man or woman, that we have to take responsibility, is an experience that we want for ourselves in life, that's a way we want to grow and learn. And also, especially for a young man, doing his homework and understanding the risk he is taking in getting married, and making sure that he's willing to accept that risk in marriage so that he doesn't become a victim to whichever outcome it might play. So that's what I would say about teaching a young man. See if there's anything else. Thanks for awesome comments and questions. Oh, bless you, Mark. I'm watching in Ireland. Welcome from Ireland. How cool. And have been in a sexless marriage for 8 years. I'm so sorry. I've been in a men's group supporting men like me and watching you, and it has saved my life. Thank you so much for sharing that, and just being open to share that for yourself, but also the comments like that help other men in similar situations, and just bless you. And I'm so glad that you're learning and here on my channel, and also have other men around you that you can support each other. That's wonderful. All right, a couple more. These are great questions and comments. Phil, I agree. So I keep going. For those of you who might hop off soon, thank you so much for being here and supporting the channel. I appreciate you very much. Luke, nice to have you on. Do you think that fun policing is also closely associated and comes from the same as the tone policing? Yeah, so I would imagine you mean like monitoring and policing what a man says or how he says it. And yeah, absolutely. It's that rigidity and that need to be in control. And then we also, I'd say another aspect of this is we have such poor tone and how we say things, especially with our walls up, and we feel justified and entitled in how we're showing up and the tone and what we're saying, that then we often will project that onto our husbands. They might be saying something totally just normal and direct, but no tone. And we will project onto you that you do have a tone because we're hearing it through our filter of how we might talk. Yeah. Oh, bless you. Oh my goodness. I referred these videos to my wife and now get mocked with, oh, am I emasculating you? Sorry, I even referred the videos now. So here I can understand that. And that's a challenging situation. That's where, for good men who share my videos and their wife are not open to it, what that's doing is showing you exactly who she is, that she's not willing to change, and good for you to share the videos, because that's the whole purpose. You want to share being hopeful that she might be open to it and might change, but you also have to take responsibility for the risk that she might not be open to it. And she's going to throw temper tantrums and possibly even mock you. So that's where you embrace that, okay, this is the reality of my life. And then you have to assess what your values are so that you can have a plan of, am I going to stay and navigate this for various reasons and various values? Or now I know who my wife is, she's not going to change and she's going to continue to have this toxicity in her woman ways. Is this a relationship that I want to stay in, or do I want to go on my own path and make plans to leave? So that's the purpose, so that you don't feel sorry that you sent her the videos. Be proud of yourself. You had the courage to do that. Now embrace the reality. Now you know, and there's nothing you can do to change your wife, and then you can make a plan and decide what's going to be best for you. So great questions and comments. I'll pop back over here for a moment. Hi, Salty Combat Diver. It's always so nice to see these familiar names each week, and I appreciate you so much and your encouragement of the channel and sharing and your comments. It's very, very appreciated. So, all right. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Karen. I know you must get tired of helping us, but I appreciate your explanations and guidance. Never get tired of helping. This is my passion and what I love to do. So I look forward to this every week and all the work that I get to do with my students. And it's a labor of love for sure. So thank you so much for watching and for being here and for all you guys making this possible. It's a joy to be here. So thank you all. I'm going to head off for the day and go join my husband and enjoy the weekend. I think in Denver it's going to be a little rainy this weekend, so we might go see a movie. And we're going to make one of our favorite things to make is called pozole. And we've experimented with red pozole and green pozole, and we decided we like the green the best, but it's more labor intensive. And we like to cook together on Saturday nights, which is a wonderful way that I've gotten to work on my rigidity, because we can be really rigid in the kitchen, like, you're not cutting the onion the right way, or that's not how I want you to saute it. So in overcoming that, my husband and I have a lot of fun in the kitchen together, especially on Saturday nights. So we will probably have a drink and make green pozole and enjoy the rainy spring weather. So I hope you guys have fun. Now you know you have permission to have fun, even if it's not with your wife. Hope you guys have fun this weekend. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. All right. Bye, guys.